right, you can begin.
Stop.
You can begin, guys.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bisu, ladies and gentlemen. Today we propose to do Community Chapter 9. Firstly, I must introduce the group members. Mr. Kenny Mohammed, Mr. Kashmir Rosan, and myself, Narayan Prasad Bisnath. So, firstly, we begin this afternoon's presentation with a video of what is community.
Community. What is it? Can it be purchased, packaged, or manufactured? Is it as simple as a clump of houses ending in a quaint cul-de-sac?
So you opened a link there and we're not seeing the link.
Schools and shopping strips close for easy access.
Are you hearing the video? Are you seeing the video?
We're hearing the video, but we're not seeing anything. We're just seeing the slide page that you have the link on.
All right, 1 second.
You might have to minimize that and bring up your the link that is playing off of.
Seeing it there also?
No, we're just seeing your slide.
One second, please. Are you seeing it there also?
Still no, we're just seeing the slide that you have the link on. Remember, if you selected, did you select screen, entire screen, or did you select a window?
Entire screen.
All right, but then you have to minimize this if you're linking to, because the video is not embedded on that screen.
Right.
So what you can do is just minimize this and bring up where you're displaying the video on your on whichever browser you're using for it to come up on.
Or manufactured?
All right. So you can tell me
Is
if
it
you're seeing
a
the screen there?
Yeah, we're seeing it now.
Right, great.
Community. What is it? Can it be purchased, packaged, or manufactured? Is it as simple as a clump of houses ending in a quaint cul-de-sac? Schools and shopping strips close for easy access. A bank, a church, and a few roads between. Does community start on my street or yours? Is it a noun or is it a verb set in motion each and every day? Is community present at the end of our drive and just to the drive of our neighbor? How do we know where it begins? Looking at a map, there are clear, determined, refined edges where our town begins and another starts. But does a town constitute community? I suggest community unfolds in conversations over backyard fences, in porch swings, and around dining tables. It happens with a kind word and gentle touch at the bedside of a patient. It's intimate, it's communal, and it's people. Not the flat screen kind, radiating from a computer, but the warm, needy kind that take our time, effort, our resources, and aren't always convenient. Community entails joint ownership, participation, responsibility. It's authentic, compassionate, and relational. It's connective. It doesn't happen in seclusion, but in unison. It's alive. We are the community. Every day the doors open at our free clinic, Grace House Pregnancy Center, or our team teaches in a local school. We are extending grace, building relationships, building lives. We are making our community a better place, a place where hope lives, life matters, and knowledge counts. Won't you join us? Your life can make a difference.
More halfway way.
You have to go to the window for your PowerPoint.
Yes, sir. So you seen this screen here with the thing?
Yeah. Go
Okay, we
ahead.
continue there now, please, sir.
What is a community? According to sociologist Emil Durkheim, a community is made up of people's norms, beliefs, and values into a collective consciousness or a shared way of understanding and behaving in the world. The collective consciousness binds individuals together and creates social integration. His theory of functionalism states society is an organism since each component plays an independent and necessary role, but cannot function on its own. In other words, they are interdependent on each other to function smoothly. They are elements of a community. A community is most often described as a social group that not only shares an identity and structured pattern of interaction, but also a common geographical territory, according to Goodman. Who are we? And what matters? These are questions that are posed by Thierry Wheatley and Kellner Rogers. A true community cannot exist without diversity, as indicated by Gudikunst. Gardner, 1990, extends the traditional definitions of community to refer to effective communities as those that practice these 8 elements. All right, so according to Gardner, these 8 elements is what constitute the community. We start off with number 1, wholeness incorporating diversity. And if I may point out to you, similarly to Durkheim, there's a clause of diversity where you must be able to express different views and ideologies, or else everything becomes monotonous and boring and chaos may ensue, right? So everybody looks at the same thing with different views and different ideas and different theories. Number 2, a shared culture. You must have appropriate behavior. We are all guided by norms and values. For example, we all share that killing is wrong. We all share that stealing is wrong. So you must have some values that you upheld to. You must share some values that we believe in. And we go on to number 3. We have good internal communication. So this is like positivity. You must be positive about the things that you do in the community. You must have a positive vibe and no gossiping and wasting time and bacchanal. All right. And number 4, we look at caring, trust, and teamwork. You must be unified in whatever you're doing. And if you don't have caring and you don't have trust and you don't have teamwork, you could get nothing done. For instance, where it may take one man to dig a particular trench. Similarly, if you get a group of people, you will finish the work faster. Same thing with projects in the community. One person alone cannot do it. You all need a collective team of people to get it done. And then you look at 5, where you have group maintenance and governance. This simply refers to you must have a structured way of doing things in society. Somebody must be at the bottom rung of the ladder. Somebody must be in the supervisory position. And with the different ranks that creates the structure, it also allots to the diversity I spoke about before. Then we look at number 6, with participation and shared leadership tasks, meaning that you must delegate roles and responsibilities for your members. All right. With the delegated roles and responsibilities, you have different people doing different things. We move on to number 7, which is development of young people. We all know that we cannot live forever. So just like how we have succession planning now in our workplace, in the community, you must always try to have new members come in and young blood, because they offer new insight, they offer new ideologies, and they would also carry on when you are no longer there. And if you set the correct foundation, they would have a positive platform to work on and build on. All right. And number 8, we look at links with the outside world. Simply put, with technology and economic standards, just as we often quote, no man is an island. It's like in globalization, where you have to produce a particular product in Trinidad, but the raw materials come from China or Japan or India. In order to get the finished product, you must import these raw materials from elsewhere. So it's the same thing where you must be able to interact and link with the outside world, where you could build on your ideas and it could improve your standings and it could come up with new and innovative ways to solve problems. Okay. And now we look at a command center. We start off by A. A true community is not a collection of people who all think alike, but people with different minds and complementary natures. So I reiterate again, in order for a true community to exist, you must have diversity. People must be free to offer their views and ideas. You must have a diversity, or else everything, other than becoming boring, it wouldn't be helter-skelter and without the rule of law or a structured way, or you have a formula to get things right. Move on to B. In his 1958 classic I and Thou, Martin Buber contends that in our life together, some form of community is what makes life worth living. He simply describes community as a group of people who have made a choice around a common center. All right, and C, a group of leadership educators who struggled with the role and importance of community and shared leadership eventually define community as the binding together of diverse individuals committed to a just common good through shared experiences in a spirit of caring and social responsibility, according to National Invitational Leadership Symposium 1991. And I wish to point out again the word diverse. It keeps cropping up all the time because all the theorists so far talk about diversity in a community. All right, and we goes on to developing communities like this depends on relational leadership that deeply values the inclusion of all members, empowered to work together toward common purposes. In these community, openness is a central practice. You cannot have one person making all the rules and decisions. You cannot have one person coming up with all the ideas and nobody else have a say or input into the workplace or into the ideas, because it will be like being a dictator. All right, and D, true dialogue requires listening and being willing to give up the need for control. Even when your ideas and thoughts are in conflict with those of another. Without the willingness to give up control, you engage in monologue that cannot promote community. So in other words, while you may have a particular idea or a particular thought or a particular formula to get something done, somebody may have a better idea than you, and the only way that could come to fruition is if you give somebody else a chance. You cannot be wanting to answer all the questions. You cannot be feeling that you know everything, and you cannot impose a rule of law on everybody that you in charge. You must always be able to be diverse, and another word is accommodating to people, because other people also have ideas. That means a lot. All right, and E, being in community requires the realization that a member's own needs will not always prevail. All right, so Buber reminds us that this does not mean accepting views of others just to create a false peace. Rather, it means keeping in mind the commitment to greater values. All right, so communities speak to us in moral voices. They lay claims on their members. Indeed, they are the most important sustaining source of moral voices other than the inner self, according to Etzioni, 1993. So this also means that you don't just accept the views of other people just for acceptance sake. It always and must be for the greater good. All right. So we now move on to the video, please.
So we seen it, or you guys seen this video, right?
Yep.
Right.
It's not playing just yet. Guys, you all still there?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
The video is not rolling here.
What's that, sir?
The video is not playing.
The video is not playing?
No, it's just stuck with a finger pointing, a hand pointing at a knob there.
Try back with the video again. Seen it then also?
No, you stop presenting now.
All right. Mr. Abhisu, you can tell me if you seen the video now.
Communities of practice.
All right, so we're hearing the video, but
A
the
community
video
of
that you have
practice as
presented
defined
on
by
the
Wenger Trainer
screenshot
2015
here is
is a
not
group of
moving
learners
along.
who are in the process.
So again, what's happening is opening up in a browser. So you're gonna have to minimize your presentation and go to the browser that opens in. All right, pull it back from the start.
All right, you're hearing audio and you're seeing the video. Right?
Well, we were hearing audio before, so we're not hearing
But
audio
you
now.
know-
Though. We're not hearing any audio now.
All right, last try. Have you seen any?
Communities of practice.
We're hearing it, but the video that you have displayed on the PowerPoint
A
is not
community
moving.
of practice as defined by Wenger.
See, it's not showing the video.
What happened is the video is not embedded properly. All right, again, I recommend that you all could post the links to those things into the group chat so people could go look at them on their own.
All right, where is it?
Yeah.
All right, so moving on.
Sorry, yeah.
I now propose to introduce Mr. Kashmir Rosan, my esteemed colleague, to continue. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So we would have showed you a video of community of practice, and we will be posting a link on the classroom for persons to take a look at. So community of practice refers to a group of people who work together, learn from each other, and develop an understanding of how to achieve a favorable outcome. That is what a community of practice is. So the video would have indicated certain areas. So this diagram here shows the three areas. Firstly, the domain, practice, and community. The first area is the domain. So is when community practice speaks about what that domain is, what we care about. So we care about safety, security, building a bond. Then we move on to the second stage in that practice. Practice is what we do together about it. So in order for us to do something, we must cooperate, we create a culture, and there are certain expectations. Then we move on to the third stage, which is the community. And in the community is who cares about it. And if you build a community, the members is the one who care about it, the community leaders and the younger generation. Because as we move on, as the older persons move on, the younger persons who are part of the community, they now form the second generation of building the community. So it is important that in every community you foster and you encourage young persons to assist in the community. So we have 5 stages of development of the community of practice. The 5 stages is committing, starting up, operating, winding down, and shutting down. In the first stages, we have someone decides what the community practice would be good thing to do and sets out to do it. So I am sure that everybody would have been aware that in most communities that we have a lot of people stealing the TSTT cable wires right now. And so it is important that we try to, as a community, you try to decide, hey, this is going to affect everybody in the community. So we have a community problem, which is people stealing the lines. That affects everybody in terms of communication, internet services, and landline communication. So we, as a community, we decided, hey, we're going to do something about this. So we move on to the second stage, which is the starting up, right? The purpose of frame is formed. Members are selected and recruited based on the roles. So in the community, you have certain persons in your neighborhood, certain person with a certain degree of skill sets. You might have men from the army, police officers, you have lawyers, doctors, teachers, you have laborers. And each person, they have a special role to play. And I might have some persons who work nights and they come home in the morning. And so you select these persons. Then we move on to operating. So we know what is the problem. We have the skill sets. So we start to develop how we solving this problem. One way of solving the problem is to partner with your local station and you form neighborhood watch groups so that, and we know that the copper ceiling takes place in the night. So you have persons based on their skill sets, based on how they work, based on what they do, forming a little watch group in the night to ensure that, hey, if these people come to steal the copper wire, we will be able to assist in apprehending and then have law enforcement come and deal with them in a legal standing. Now this will unfold. They will start off, and when the men and them realize, hey, we cannot go in that community, they have people watching out. We went at night and we get catch, we're not going back there. So that will stymie these fellas and them from going and stealing the copper. So after some time now, we will reach the winding down stages where it means that we would have gotten together as a community to treat it as a specific issue, and now we're winding down. So the thief in the copper would have almost stopped because you have people coming in and saying, hey, them fellas looking after the area, we are not going there. So then we would have, and then you would have less, the stealing helicopter wire may have shifted to other areas. So you would have less patrols, less night person staying up in the night. So instead of staying up for the whole week, we stay up every other night, and then eventually maybe once for the week, and then so eventually the problem will dissipate and we reach the shutting down stage, where the objective was to prevent persons from stealing the copper wire through a neighborhood watch that was formed through community partnership and networking with the police officers. And as a result, we would have solved our problem. Now the community group would not dissolve, but a problem may arise down the road, and we will now reach back to the stage where a new problem will arise. So we start back from committing, starting up. So it's a revolving situation at all times. So community practice continues. Now, I have a serious problem with this man's name here. So he too vulgar in my opinion, and I really can't pronounce his name. So according to this terrace here, he proposes 7 community building principles. And coming off of the other slides, we must be committed. That's the first thing. Persons who join the community must commit to the prerequisite for the community to exist. Without commitment, we cannot exist. 2, be mindful. You think about the way you do things and you say things to people. You have to be cautious as to when you're saying things to people, right? You must be mindful as what you're saying, when you're saying it, and how you say it, because people take offense to things really, really fast, and you have to be guided by that. 3, be unconditionally accepting. Accept others as they are. Do not try to change or control them. Minimize expectation, prejudice, suspicion, and misuse. So any community, you just don't want the upstanding citizens, maybe the doctors, the lawyers. You must give the man on the ground too, a laborer, a skilled worker. Although he might not have status in society, he has something to contribute towards building the community. Then we move on to the 4th stage. Be concerned for both yourself and others. And again, piggybacking off of number 3, engage in dialogue where possible. Consult with others on issues that affect them and be open to their ideas. Fight gracefully. You cannot say that, hey, my idea is the only idea. You must listen to other people, because sometimes they might have something that worth exploring, and we need to listen to everybody. You must be understanding and try to understand others as completely as possible. And also very, very important, and be ethical. Follow the basic principles of right and wrong. And the most important rule, treat others the way you want to be treated. Moving on. Number 7, be peaceful. Don't be violent, deceitful, breach values, promise or be secretive. Internal harmony and harmony in the relation with others will only assist the community build and move forward to solve the issues that they are treating with. Community practice is also naturally occurs. In every company has naturally occurring practices that arise as a result of a relationship that develop to accomplish a favorable outcome. In every community, we go to the 2nd stage, the most important factor, in that it is a voluntary situation. You are not mandated to join in a community. You are voluntary. And therefore, members may not share them unless the culture supports the participants. So if I am participating, I must feel welcome into the community, so that whatever I want to share with the community is accepted, and I am volunteering. If it is that I am volunteering and I am not being given a clear hearing, I would just stop going and follow for the community. So that happens that happens a lot. And we reached a very important issue of community of practice, and that is social networks today. Because of the COVID-19 virus, we are now seeing that virtual meetings, virtual settings has taken over in-house meetings. Look, today we sitting and we have persons from all over Trinidad and I know in Tobago having a meeting, having a discussion. I am presenting from the luxury of my home and everybody is in their house. And this social networks through technology is so important for doing meetings. Your WhatsApp, your Facebook, you create a WhatsApp group, you create a Facebook page, you share the areas of concern, what the community is doing, so the wider community knows that we are doing something here, and everybody could take. Also, contribute. Community of practice are most effective for learning and improving work performance. When members believe they contribute to the core operating process of the community. And at this stage, we'd like to present a video. I hope this video plays before I hand over. So you can tell me if this video is playing?
You know, there are a lot of people that we haven't met.
Right, so we're hearing the video, but because you're clicking that link and then it's going to open a window and open a browser to thing, we're not going to see it play here because it's not embedded here. It's just a link that you have here. So if you want to play it, you need to, like what you just did there, it's open and you paused it, right?
Yeah.
Minimize, no, you don't have to go out. Just minimize your exit from your presentation, minimize that screen, bring up the screen that that has the browser and play the video. Well, you have to start back presenting again, so.
1 second, please.
Yeah.
So you see the video now?
I'm seeing Bob, yes.
Okay, here goes Bob.
Around the neighborhood.
The audio?
Let's see.
Get audio. Roll it back
Audio.
from the beginning. Yeah.
Very good.
You know, there are a lot of people that we haven't met around the neighborhood yet. Let's see if we can meet a few more, all right? Oh, who are the people in your neighborhood? In your neighborhood. In your neighborhood. Say, who are the people in your neighborhood? The people that you meet each day.
Excuse me, sir.
Oh.
Yes, you know what time it is? We're late for class.
Say, you must be some of the new people around the neighborhood.
That's right, that's right. We'll give you clues who
Okay,
we are.
let's do that.
Yes, we work with blackboard and
Blackboard
chalk.
and
Yes,
chalk.
and we work usually in a big building.
In a big building?
And we work with children.
I know who you are.
What?
You're teachers.
Right. Oh, a teacher works the whole day through.
To teach important things to you.
We'll teach you things you won't forget, like numbers and the alphabet.
'Cause the teacher is a person in your neighborhood.
Yes, in your neighborhood. They're in your neighborhood. Yes, a teacher is a person in your neighborhood. A person that you meet each day.
Let's take a walk down the street and see if we can meet some other people, okay? Oh, hi there. I don't think we've met him before. How are you?
I'm all right, I think.
You're all right?
Sure.
I see you're selling magazines.
Yeah, sure. Magazines, newspapers, anything
Newspapers?
like that.
You must be the news dealer, right?
Of course I'm the news dealer. Oh, the news dealer's the man you need. If you want to get some stuff to read. If you want a paper or a comic book. Well, my newsstand is the place to look.
'Cause the news dealer is a person in your neighborhood.
In your neighborhood.
In your neighborhood.
And the teacher is a person in your neighborhood.
They're the people that
you meet when you're walking down the street. They're the people that you meet each day.
Okay.
Would you like to meet some of the people around the neighborhood now? Oh, who are the people in the neighborhood? In your
All right, so you want to go to the window where you have the PowerPoint. And then start back resume the presentation.
Yes. Are you seeing it there now, sir?
No, we're still seeing your browser. Minimize the browser. You have a screen extension on? You have a extra screen attached to your computer?
No, sir. No, sir.
All right, no,
I'm not too
just
familiar with
minimize
this Teams giving.
minimize your browser. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Minimize that.
You seeing the you seeing the video then also?
No. What do you want to show us? Another video?
No. I'm going back to the PowerPoint now.
Okay, you keep all right, you'll have to start back sharing again.
Right there.
Right. Okay.
So so thanks for taking in Bob there, so, and I'm now handing over to Mr. Kenny Mohammed to take us to the last part of this presentation. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, sir. In continuing with our presentation, we look at the development of community. All right, so Scott Peck, another ideologist, identified 4 stages of developing a true and authentic community. The first stage is a pescuro community. Pescuro meaning is a false sense. Right. In this stage, a group may feel like things are just fine. People seem to be getting along. Relationships.
So you're hearing us and you're seeing us there?
Yep.
You're saying the screen development of community, right?
Yeah.
Right, brother. Fine.
Okay, I'll take it back from the top, sir. Scott Peck identified 4 stages of developing true authentic community. First stage is pescuro community, meaning a false sense. In this stage, a group may feel like things are just fine. People may seem to be getting along. Relationships are courteous, but it is really, in a reality, superficial, undeveloped level of community. For example, pescuro community is conflict avoiding. True community is conflict resolving. In other words, everybody come to the meeting, but nobody know what they come to the meeting for. So everybody just voicing opinions, talking amongst themselves until some level of order is maintained. Secondly, community building is chaos. During this stage, there's a noisy atmosphere with different views. Different people or factions are voicing their perspectives from which to set the community's agenda or determine important processes. Committee members promote individual agendas. Cliques form, and this stage can be dangerous because some give up and retreat instead of working through the stage. So, an example of this, imagine walking into a fish market. Everybody talking, everybody making noise, trying to sell their product. It's only after a while when people, you gotta walk around, select what you need, and then the place might quiet down a little bit. And the reason this is dangerous is because it's a voluntary thing. Everybody, when people realize, well, nobody really listening to me, what are you really doing here? They decide to leave because, as customers said before, it is not mandated. The third stage is the realization that many personal feelings, assumptions, ideas, stereotypes, or motives become barriers to truly listening and understanding. Emptiness refers to relieving oneself of the assumptions and preconceived notion that may block one from truly listening. It may mean someone saying, hold on, wait a minute. This third stage, they begin to get a little bit of order. People start to voice their opinions and to really understand what they really came for. And the aim is to benefit the community and not to benefit individual persons. The fourth stage of the true community, there's still conflict, but avenues are identified to voice opinions. Meaning, like long time you have a talking stick. Everybody can be talking at the same time. Whoever have the talking stick, everybody else need to stay quiet. Community members know they cannot reach a consensus or any level of agreement without disagreement. This helps reach better decisions. Like my colleague said before, Narayan Prasad, diversity, different ideas. And building a community involves creating an atmosphere of us and not I. For instance, you come to a meeting, you're thinking to yourself, well, I want to do this, I want to do that. But after you go through the stages, you start thinking differently. And you start thinking about, well, we should do this or we should do that. And that is how our community develops. All right, so different people benefit in different ways from the community. First, there's the individual development, where children and families directly involved in community development initiatives benefit from the increase in their personal skills. They gain knowledge, they get empowerment and self-efficiency. Also, they begin to feel a sense of connectivity, being part of a bigger picture to accomplish something that is a bit more meaningful to everybody else. And through community development initiatives, other community members tend to become more empowered, meaning they can recognize and challenge conditions which can negatively impact their well-being. Like some communities, they realize that have a lot of youths just lying on the block, they may do nothing. So through community development programs, really they could learn a trade or a skill. You have like sewing, woodwork, you might form a team, a chess team or something. So keep them active, keep them involved in doing things. So now we look at things that does not contribute to community development. Community development is not a one-off event, meaning you don't meet when something goes wrong. It should be a continuous thing. You should have a scheduled time. If it's once a month or twice per week, whatever it is, it needs to be consistent and not a one-off event when an emergency happens. Secondly, informing members of goals or strategies. This is not a part of community development because there's no leader. There's no one to make a decision and then inform the other members of the community that a decision was made. Thirdly, community advisory groups or committees. Number 2, 3, and 4, all of them kind of linked together. There's no leadership in a community and building a community. Everybody has to give their ideas. There's a consensus, and then together they will come to a favorable decision, which will be beneficial to not only the community, but all those involved as well. So all these things can be strategies towards community development. However, by themselves, they are not community development. Right? So they need to be done in collaboration with each other in order to be positive development. So we'll now look at a few key terms, a few takeaways from the chapter itself. So we have community. A community is often a geographical area. For example, a local government region or particular town. We use Trinidad as an example. In Port of Spain, we have Chinatown. I don't know if it is only Chinese living up there, but they have it as Chinatown. The Trinidad itself is divided into different boroughs. These boroughs are further divided into villages. Right? Community can also be defined based on shared interests and does not usually refer to service providers or organizations. Service providers being people like TNTech, WASA, Digicel, they cannot be considered as communities. So let's pause here for a second and pelt out a question to the class. Can a gang be considered a community? Anybody? Yeah. In my opinion,
Yes,
no.
Kali, I think it is
All right, you want to give us a reason, Colleen?
because they have shared values, they have structure, they have networking, good communication skills. So yes, I do believe that a gang can be considered a community.
I'll beg to differ, but we're talking about it, we're discussing it a bit because does a gang have a leader?
In some instances,
Yeah. Who benefits from the gang activities?
all members of the gang.
Gang, right? So that's more or less, let's just go after the slide here.
Okay.
But things that do not promote community development, so let's say leadership is not one, leadership training. And then let's say a gang, let's say Kashmir is the leader of a gang, and he's somebody doing something wrong on the outside, and he come, well, all right, people, all right, buddies, we're going to kill this man. Who's going to benefit from that? It's for personal benefit. That had nothing to do with the rest of the gang. The rest of the gang probably don't even know this guy. They're going to kill. But because Kashmir is the leader, they will listen to him. So this is something that could be debated. Everybody have different opinions on it. Moving on, we have consultation. Consultation is the process of asking community members via surveys, interviews, or focus group for their opinion on an issue. This is done in order to get everybody's opinion to make a favorable decision that is beneficial to the community. Internal communication exists in order to derive a favorable decision. Another key term taken away from the chapter, participation. Participation refers to the full involvement and leadership of community members in a number of different areas. In the planning of the planning, meaning the setting a goal, developing, this is how we're going to approach the issue, delivering and evaluating the community actions or initiatives. Participation must not accept minimum efforts, meaning you get invited to a community meeting, 5 minutes into the meeting, you realize this meeting boring and end up leaving. That's not how this is operated. If you're a member, you need to give 100%. Community members must participate in ways that are meaningful to them and the community project. And this does not involve making decisions for personal gain. Right? So normally in meetings like this, you'll find like the elders will take up the mantle and they would be training the younger ones. And the middle-aged people now, the people that will be doing the more physical tasks, running here to get this, running here to get that. And the elder people in the community will be doing more advising and more delegation. All right. Moving on, we will take a look at college communities. For many years, college campuses have been described as communities of scholars or as learning communities. A study was done with some students and staff, and they were asked what they would like to change about the campus. Everyone involved, meaning the students and the staff, indicated that they needed a renewed sense of community, meaning not repeating the older and correlative model. They expressed the need for a kaleidoscope community that embraces difference and finds common purpose. I'm not too sure if I should use this example here, but I'll use it anyway. Take, for example, Trinidad. People fed up of UNC, they're fed up of PNM, they're looking for difference, they're looking for new blood, something to shake up the place. Because everything is monotonous right now. Go to work, come home, pay bills. Go to work, come home, pay bills. So people need a change, they need, according to this slide, they need a kaleidoscope of changes. Moving on, the communities within the campuses consists of the students, there's the faculty, administrators, staff, alumni. And within these groups, there are smaller communities, which comprises of the seniors, appointed spokespersons, and mascots. And then there are communities by departments. You'll have the history department, engineering college, student activities office, athletics program, the women's center. Anybody could give me another department within a college? Anybody in class? No support here. Anyhow, we have the science department. There's also the welfare department. And I think this is as much as we have with colleges of communities. So to wrap up a bit now, we have a summary of the chapter. Any group or organization as a community working together for shared purposes enhances relational leadership. That group exists as a community. That group exists as a community which connects participants to a shared paradigm of expectations and obligations. In order to flourish, communities require relational leadership. This practices value within the community, which is meaningful change, where meaningful change can occur. All right, this brings us to the end of our presentation. Thank you all for listening, and we will now open the floor to any questions.
No questions, guys?
No questions, no support from this class.
All right, so what we'll do, we'll pause the recording now. Thank you very much, guys.
No problem, sir.